Hey guys, welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name is B, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing some tips with you guys on how to level up in your 20s. And this is coming from someone who's in her 30s, early 30s might I add. So in my 20s I was able to get married, graduate with my bachelor's degree, start working in my career, and have 2 children. So while I was able to check off a lot of boxes, I don't want you guys to feel like you have to accomplish all of these things in your 20s. Really, when I'm talking about leveling up, I'm just talking about seeing growth in your life. So the first tip I have for you guys is to imagine your dream life and start setting some goals. Now girl, when you are imagining this dream life of yours, I want you to get deep and be very specific. Like, ask yourself some important questions. Do you see yourself married, or do you see yourself with a lifelong partner? Do you see yourself with kids, or do you see yourself, enjoying your life alone with that partner? Do you see yourself living in an apartment or a house? What kind of car do you want to drive? Do you want to travel? All of these little things matter because I want you guys to make this as real as possible, because when you think about these little things, you're a little bit more invested, and so that's going to give you the motivation that you need when life gets hard. I'm not even going to lie to you guys. In my 20s, I used to daydream so freaking much. Like, I would be that person without children in a store and like finding myself going to the children's section and imagining like what kind of outfits I would buy for my kids. Now, as far as your goals, you want to think about this dream life that you have for yourself, and you want to pick the most important things to you, and those are the things that you're going to work on in your 20s. Everything else is still important, but you really want to hone in on the most important things, because you really don't want to waste time when it comes to things that are very important to you and the values that you have. So when it comes to your goals, you really want to create a timeline for yourself, because just having them isn't enough. The timeline really gives you that extra push. So let's say one of your goals is to get a career and work in your dream job. So that is your long-term goal, but you really need some steps to get you there, right? So you can say, by the next 2 months I want to enroll in college, and then that gives you something to work on. Once you accomplish that, you can be like, okay, in 2 or 4 years I want to finish the program. So that gives you something else to work on. And when you finish your program, it's gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna take the summer to apply for all of my dream jobs and start working by the fall. So doing this really breaks it down for you, and it makes it seem like it's something that's realistic and achievable, and I feel like that's the best way to go about it. Number 2 is to surround yourself with positive and goal-oriented people who are doing exactly what it is that you want to do, or who are living their best lives. So this has nothing to do with friendships. We're going to get into that in a little bit later on in this video, but this is more so like a mentor situation, or a situation where you could find maybe an acquaintance or just somebody to help guide you and to keep you motivated on your path. Now, if this is something that's difficult for you to find in your personal life, then it's okay to use the internet. Like, you can look at people on YouTube who are doing exactly what it is that you want to do, because there's a lot of lessons you can get from following their journey. A lot of people share like a day in their life. So let's say you want to be a lawyer or something like that. You can look up a day in the life of a lawyer, lessons I learned as a lawyer, things like that, just so that you have an idea of what's to come. And also, it's a good way to keep you motivated as well. Tip number 3 is to do a lot of inner work and self-assessment. So when it comes to leveling up, a lot of it has to do with accomplishments, but honestly, none of that matters if you aren't happy on the inside, and if you haven't done the work that it takes to fix all of your past traumas or heal yourself from anything that's holding you back. The point of this is to truly work on yourself in the ways that you want to. Like, as individuals, we have the ability to self-reflect. So if you see something within yourself that you don't like, or that's holding you back from accomplishing your goals, then truly take some time to fix those things. And there are several ways to do this. Now, I know there's a lot of talk about people going to counseling, and that's something that's becoming a lot more available. Like, you don't have to go in an office like people had to traditionally. You can do things online. If you're not comfortable with speaking with somebody, then there's self-help options like self-help books. There's videos on YouTube, articles. The options really are there. It's just a matter of you figuring out what works best for your needs. Oh my gosh, I cannot talk. Tip number 4 has to do with thinking about romantic relationships. So now, y'all, we getting into the juicy stuff. Let's talk about dating and relationships. I'm so sorry, sis. We about to get into the tea. So I did have to pause this video and go grab my cup because we gonna talk about these men. Fair warning, I'm letting you guys know this video is about to get a little real. I'm gonna give you guys some tough love. This is coming from Big Sis. So if you need to, go ahead, grab yourself some tea or a glass of wine because sis, you're gonna need it. I'm gonna wait. You can pause the video. I'm here waiting for you so that we can talk. What y'all doing? What are y'all doing out here in your 20s with these men? What y'all doing? I need some answers. I get it, y'all. Like, you're 20, you want to have fun, you're out partying, you know, you're dating, and, you know, just figuring out what you want. And that is, you know, that's a good thing. The 20s are the time to do that. But at the same time, I feel like so many women fail to prepare for long term in their 20s. Yes, you can do these things, you can absolutely have fun, you can go on dates, you know, but at the same time, don't do that and neglect your future, because whether you prepare or not, the future is coming. And if you see yourself spending, you know, the rest of your life with somebody, you got to do things in your 20s. There are certain steps that you have to take. So when it comes to your 20s, the first thing you need to do is you need to set a timeline. So we are all about having fun, but we're also about being serious. Give yourself a timeline. By giving yourself a timeline, you are allowing yourself to explore in your 20s and, you know, just be a 20-year-old, figure out what it is that you need, what it is that you want. You're able to have fun and all of those things. But at the same time, you also recognize the urgency, because as women, we do have a biological clock. As women, when we hit our 30s, it becomes a little bit more challenging, not impossible, just more challenging, because the pool is very limited. The same way we spent our 20s thinking about the dream life we wanted, men did the same thing, and a lot of men actually went out and secured that, and they got married. So the pool is a little bit less for us when we turn 30, because a lot of men are unavailable. And so you really want the best men for yourself. You want the best men for your family, your children, if that's something that you're interested in. I'm not saying that once you hit 30, you know, oh, things are going downhill. No, I just want you guys to be mindful of these things. So yes, when it comes to dating, have fun, but also give yourself a timeline. And once you're done dating for fun and figuring out what you need, start dating for seriousness and for finding a husband, if that is something that you desire. So now I want to address women in their 20s who are in relationships and have been in long-term relationships. If you see all the qualities that you want in a husband and your current partner, and you know this is the one for you, now's the time to have that serious conversation. And if you had it and it didn't go so well, now is also the time to start thinking about if this person is truly the person for you. And I know that this may be a very uncomfortable thought to have, of you not being with this person, especially when you're truly in love and this is the person you want to be with. But there comes a point in our lives as women where we really need to step up to the plate and take control of our futures and not leave it in the hands of some of these men. A lot of these men are not worthy of your love, your time, and everything that you give to them. And instead of wasting it on that person, I think we should spend more time finding the person who is worthy of that. So if you're with a man and he can't tell you that he wants to commit to you for the long run, then do yourself a favor and find somebody who can. Number 5 is to put yourself first. So this is a lesson I learned in my 20s. I am a person who is very much of a giver. I like to give back to people. I like to make people happy. And it's okay to not want to disappoint people, but not at the expense of constantly disappointing yourself. And so over time, I realized that, oh, I keep making other people happy, but I'm not happy. I learned to recognize that I was doing things backwards. I was so busy worrying about somebody else that I was kind of an afterthought. So I shifted that and I started putting my own needs, my own wants first. Really having boundaries is a way that I protected myself. So when you put yourself, you want to know what you're comfortable with, what you're not comfortable with, and really draw that line and make it clear with people, because people just need to learn to respect you, period. You honestly cannot pour from an empty cup. And I know that is so cliche, that quote gets thrown around a lot, but if you don't have enough to give yourself, how you gonna give somebody else? You know, you're just gonna give them everything you have and have nothing left for you, but that's not okay and that's not right. Number 6 has to do with working on relationships with family and friends. So you really want to take the time to reflect on which relationships you need to work on strengthening. Maybe you need to create some of those relationships. And lastly, you should really think about which relationships you need to let go of. Your environment can literally have a lasting impact on your life. So I know that we don't get to pick our family, and depending on your cultural background, you know, some people truly believe that, you know, you don't have a choice. You are given your family and you just have to figure things out. But I'm of a different mindset. I feel like the people in your life should really value you and vice versa. So any relationship in your life that you feel that isn't beneficial to you, you need to figure out how maybe you can strengthen it. So I'm not saying to necessarily just immediately let go of people, but sit down and have conversations with people in your life. And when it comes to immediate family, like parents, siblings, I know those are so important. So I will never want somebody to just completely cut off, you know, their family. But at the same time, you need to recognize if your family truly has your best interest at heart, or if your family honestly is just toxic. It's very important to recognize which of these two categories your family and friends fall in. Because remember, one of the previous tips had to do with doing a lot of inner work. When you are doing that, you really need to have the right people around you, because they can stop that inner work and that progress from happening. And I definitely believe that there's no such thing as a perfect person. Everybody's family, everybody's friends is going to have flaws. You're going to have flaws yourself. People are not perfect, and that's absolutely okay. I think the big question that you need to ask yourself isn't more so about these people's flaws or their traits that you don't like. The important question is, do these people have my best interest at heart? Because I can work with somebody who has flaws to work on, because I recognize that I too have flaws I want to work on. And to make the relationship work, if we're able to, you know, have conversations about what we need to work on, and we're able to change things about ourselves to strengthen our relationship, then that's okay. But if somebody is genuinely, like just genuinely a horrible person who is toxic and who does not care about you, you don't need them around. There's really nothing you can do about that. Tip number 7 is to commit to being a lifelong learner and to learning as much as you can also in your 20s. So I'm not specifically talking about formal education. This may not be a goal that everybody has. Not everybody wants to go to college and live like this traditional life that society created for us. But I think at the same time, we need to recognize the value in learning and recognize that it looks different for everybody. There are a couple things I feel like you should learn in your 20s. One of the most important things is finances. You should definitely learn about things like budgeting, how to manage your credit. You should also learn how to take care of a household, how to cook, just basic life skills, I would say. Honestly, if you could learn some of these things before your 20s, that would be great. However, if you've never had the chance to do so, your 20s is also a good time. So the final tip I have for you guys, which is tip number 8, is to take risks and to have fun in your 20s. This is such a beautiful time in your life. Like, I had so much fun in my 20s. I was able to do so much, and you know, I did get married, have kids, and do all these serious things, but don't think that your girl was not living her best life. I enjoyed my life fully in my 20s, and I have no regrets. So if there's something that you want to try, that you're afraid to try, go ahead and do it in your 20s. There's no better time to do it than now, because a lot of the obligations that you have later on in life, you don't necessarily have them right now. Alright guys, so that completes today's video. If you like this video, then show me that you liked it by pressing on the like button. Also, go ahead and comment down below. Let me know which of these tips were helpful to you. And also, feel free to add additional tips. If there's some tips that you feel like are beneficial, go ahead and comment down below. No matter how old you are. You could be in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, it really doesn't matter, but if you feel like it's something that somebody will genuinely benefit from, I would love to hear back from you, and I'm sure they would too. And finally, go ahead and click on that subscribe button and that notification bell to make us official.